spirit by which she predicted the future. Now, I don't believe that she actually predicted.
Hello, everyone. I'll give it a few minutes so we could have a few people come in, if possible. I know there's usually a delay when it comes to YouTube. Hi, this is the Loon. Welcome to the weekly brunch. Today, we are just going to be talking about. First, we're going to do a recap for Mother's Day. Every day is Mother's Day, and then we're going to talk about the main topic, which is talking about steering clear of gossip. Have a few sayings to share with you guys today about that and my personal feelings about that whole ordeal. Today I am having spaghetti with uh, bolognese sauce for my brunch and just some simple iced tea. No hooch today. What are you having for brunch? Um, this is a nice cool down. Today I'm feeling good. Didn't have to take my medication. Today's date happens to be May 18th, 2025. Uh, I guess if you are in the New York area, a little news, you may want to steer clear of the Brooklyn Bridge area. Unfortunately, there was an incident with a Mexican Navy boat, training boat, and may they rest in peace. 2 people passed away, and there are several people who are critically injured. Your news source for that. There's plenty of pictures of what happened last night on the news. I'm surprised, but then again, not surprised. So if you are going out on this beautiful Sunday in New York, just be aware of that. All right. So this is the weekly brunch with the Loon. This is episode. Hold on a minute. Oh, and I just got some good news. Congratulations to my friend Alexander Sandy on your graduation. Another wonderful teacher in Germany. Oh, you're the best. I have to say that congratulations. And I know they don't celebrate it when we do in Germany, but happy belated Mother's Day to you. Um, and now that I've mentioned Mother's Day, what did you do on Mother's Day to honor your mother? I know a lot of people may have had to work. A lot of people couldn't reach their mothers. So, what little honor did you provide for your mother? Did you at least give them a phone call? Um, Sometimes that's all mothers want, to know you're good and you're thinking of them. But here goes the kicker. Did you keep your mother in keep your mother in your thoughts throughout the week? Every day. I mean, even though my mom don't get a call every day, I think about her every day. And I give her props, even though she doesn't know it. And sometimes they need to know. And don't wait, like I said last week, um, till you can't. So I'm going to jump right into the topic at hand, steering away from gossip. Now, for me, I have my own views on gossip. I think gossip is a waste of time. Now, I'm going to say a disclaimer first. Anything I say here is my opinion. It's not set in stone, but the whole purpose of this channel is to be a better you for you and eventually society. Um, I have uh, I have my own thoughts when it comes to gossip, and when I start using some scriptures and stuff like that, and talking about scriptures, you'll see why I have this view, because words have power, and also about time work, which I'm going to give some reasons why not to engage. Well, first let me say what I believe reasons why people actually participate in gossip. And if I offend, I apologize. But like I said before, this is my opinion. And we all have those, just like we have, you know how the saying goes. One of the reasons why is I think it's gossip is a show of lack of motivation to concentrate or focus on oneself. The purpose of this channel is to work internally, to work on the inside of, to look within. So if you don't want to look within, and there are many reasons why, and those who are on a spiritual journey or a self improvement journey understands there are parts of ourselves we don't want to see. So we avoid looking at those, which is not healthy at all costs. And unfortunately, one of those costs is looking at others, finding the faults in others. Um, I didn't look up this verse, but I should have. It's the verse saying, how we tend to, when we don't find someone we don't mesh with. 9 times out of 10 is not the fact that you don't mesh with that person. There's something about yourself that you don't like that you see in that person. And that is what we call projection. Gossip is projection. So that's the lack of looking at yourself. When I find someone I don't like, or I find a habit that someone is doing that really grates me, I have to ask myself, what is it that they're doing or that I see that is something in me that I don't like? And how could I change it? And that's how you have to move forward. Those who don't do that tend to gossip, which takes away from you bettering yourself. Now, this is the one of the reasons why most people, the next two is going to be reasons why most people might be turned off. If you come across this video, and I probably get backlash for this, but sometimes it's lack of education. When I mean lack of education, lack of understanding, lack of tolerance is a form of education, and a lack of introspection. That is the word I'm looking for. Introspection, which takes education, which takes the time for you to sit there and try to figure out what what may be the cause of your agitation or reason for partaking within gossip. Another one is lack of morals. Lack of morals is lack of respect. You don't respect the people around you. But worst of all, you don't respect yourself. When people realize, they don't say this, but when people realize you are a gossiper, they tend to shun you. They tend to stay away from you. And they tend to be very cautious because you do not have the discernment and the moral integrity to keep what you have been told and know to yourself. And they know that you are the type of person that will use it as a tool to demean another or a situation. So it's important for your spiritual growth, for your spiritual being, and for the well-being of those and your reputation not to gossip. Now, there are ways you could take to avoid gossip. Plan and simply focus on you. Focus on your tasks. Focus on your goals. Focus on being a better you. If you do these things, you will not have time to gossip and worry about what Mr. and Mrs. Jones is doing down the street. Now, on I have to I didn't I know this is something that uh I didn't outline in this for this particular discussion, but it's important to understand the difference between gossip and the difference between someone expressing their feelings, which is, believe it or not, a very fine line. When you are expressing your feelings, first of all, you have to understand, or you're venting or going on a rant. It's important to understand that you are coming from a place that is very emotional. When you're venting, you're expressing, how certain things make you feel, you could get emotional. And during those emotional outbursts, there are times where you may say, you compare yourself, or you compare your actions, or you compare the situation to another. Depending on how you do that, it could fall into gossip. So, and I'm going to touch on this um, a little bit further in this conversation. You have to be careful of your words. That's why gossip is, a big major thing that no one talks about. Your words are power if you're a spiritual person. It doesn't matter what spirituality you follow, what religion you follow, your words are power. And I'm going to touch on that because I have a verse, 5 verses to share. And those who um, follow different scriptures and different spiritual sayings probably know which verses I'm talking about. This is another key thing. Do not engage, no matter how simple or trivial. If a conversation starts with, "Did you hear?" I don't want to know, because it's a way of entering gossip. Or, "I heard." That's gossip. Now, depending on what the conversation is, you use your discernment. You use your discernment to whether follow through. Everybody is, "Did you hear about the world, what's going on in the world?" That's a form of gossip, but that's more informative depending on the factual truth. Everything has to be fact checked. Fact check, fact check, fact check. Everything has to be fact checked. Another key thing, if you're serious about going down a self-improvement spiritual path, keep your spiritual growth in the forefront of your mind. When I engage in conversations, I always ask myself, is this going to help better me? Everybody has opinions, and they may have an opinion about somebody else. And it's important to keep in mind that they may be judging someone on a particular action, but there's a wonderful saying I like. People judge people, but remember, you just walked into that person's particular chapter in their life. You don't know their steps. You have not walked in their steps. It is not for you to judge. It's for you to have compassion. When you have that urge, I always try to be compassionate. I try to take a step back and say, this person may be on this particular journey, or they may be suffering from this. Sometimes people, they're suffering from grief of some sort that you just don't know. They're suffering from some type of traumatic event or reliving a traumatic event that you do not know of. That's where you have to be compassionate, and where the gossip could be hurtful, more hurtful than anything else, for the pleasure of somebody else's ego. Another reason is it falls in place with keeping spirituality the uh, in the forefront is recall your goals. Remember this little banter that may be going on or talk that may be going on has nothing to do with you. And it may not even help you hit your goals that you're working towards. As a matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, it will hinder it. It's a distraction. It's an unnecessary distraction. And then lastly, work on your goals. Now it comes to the point where I want to share. Let's look at the verses I was talking about. This is John 1, chapter 1, verses 1 to 5. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and the life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This verse is important. And so far, every creational myth that I've come across has this as a key point. It has it as your words have power. Be careful of your words. Be mindful of your words. Even God's word, the word of God is what created everything. If you've practiced mindfulness, one of the things that they talk about is be careful on what you say about yourself. If you go around saying you're ugly, I'm ugly, I'm not worth it, I'm horrible. That is what you are. Now, if you go around and say, I'm a star, I'm proficient in what I do, I'm articulate, I'm always learning, I'm a positive person, I'm a benefit to those around me, I'm a benefit for me, you become what you say. You become what you say about others as well. Gossiping about others is negativity on the forefront. Let's see which other verses I have. I also went to Exodus 20, verse 1. Now I'm starting with biblical verses first, and then I'm going to start touching upon other verses that are more well-rounded. Exodus 23, verse 1 says, You shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. When you spread gossip, you are a malicious witness. You are first, 9 times out of 10, gossip is an assumption, an opinion that can or cannot harm a person. I heard. Did you hear? That's malicious. That is a start for me personally, the start of being malicious. And it's not being positive and productive, if you think about it. It just isn't. I actually want to touch upon, where is it? Okay, that's okay. I want to hit upon some quotes. Back to the biblical ones. Now, this is a prequel to where gossip starts. Don't waste time with explanations. People only hear what they want to hear. Sometimes people explain things to others. And although the explanation, although the explanation may be clear, device, on point, that's not what most people hear. They hear what they want to hear. And if they're a gossiper, oh my goodness, then they hear what they want to hear so they could spread the gossip. The second one is my favorite one. And then this is basically where you want to be. You decide where you want to be if you go by this quote by Henry Thomas Buckle. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. I love this because, okay, I thought I froze there for a moment. I love this because it actually tells you, where do you want to be? Do you want to be a strong minded person? Do you want to be an average minded person? Or do you want to be a small minded person? That speaks for itself. Socrates actually has a similar one. I guess that's where Henry Thomas Buckle got it, saying strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. So this one from Mother Teresa, which is a more recent one, which I think would fare better in our current society. These are a few ways we can practice humility. To speak as little as possible of oneself. To mind one's own business. Sounds familiar? Not to want to manage other people's affairs. Oh my goodness. To avoid curiosity. To accept contradiction and correction cheerfully. This is very hard for us. To pass over the mistakes of others. We are not perfect. Therefore, we have to accept the fact that others are not perfect. To accept insult and injury. Because sometimes the insults and the injuries, it has nothing to do with us. It's a reflection of those who are afflicting it. To accept being slighted, forgotten, and disliked. I'm still working on that one. To be kind and gentle, even under provocation. Never to stand on one's dignity. And to choose always the hardest. Now, now is the time to take the time to think about, where do you stand in this topic? I mean, I admit in my younger years, I used to gossip. I didn't realize how harmful gossip was and how much of a waste of time it was. It's always something. It doesn't go away. Um, did I lose my? It never goes away. And you have to You have to ask yourself before you speak. Um, Part of my ego. Is it worth my time? Now, shifting a little, because this is a lot of introspection and this is a lot of things you have to look out for if you want to change this habit. Um, I try not to uh, engage in gossip. I try not to go into pitfalls of gossip. I don't even pay attention to the quote unquote gossip or news about celebrities because at the end of the day, um, it doesn't benefit me. It doesn't help me. I mean, they have their lives and they have their lessons. And yes, sometimes there are lessons that you could learn through them, but at the end of the day, I don't have their money. I don't have their fame, nor do I want it. I don't have their problems. So it's not for me to judge, snicker, because that's what you do when you gossip. You're snickering at the problems, the downfalls, and the struggles of another. If you look at it that way, that is so a not nice perspective. Matter of fact, it's downright mean and cruel. I'm perfecting my sauce. When I start doing the cooking recipes for this channel, this is definitely one I will redo. It's experimental time. It's pantry inventory time. So it's time to get ready, and it's gardening season, which hopefully I plan to drop a video soon on my gardening um, expectations, which I'm going to go into. And I think it's because of my age and the fact that I'm going through perimenopause is I have no patience for gossip. And there's so much more I could do. I'm so productive now that I'm not in pain as much right now. Friday was a challenge. Oh my goodness. Friday was a very, very challenging day for me. Pain wise, I thought I could do it and I realized my limitations. Um, Again, this is brunch. So I start with the main topic just so you know how the outline works. And then we go into senseless banter. But I will always steer back to the main topic. I thought it's a little 10-minute walk of on a job site that I sometimes go on. I try to avoid sometimes because of how demanding it is physically sometimes. And how can I say fears that I have to face at times. That's another discussion. That's for another whole different weekly brunch thing. But I couldn't make a simple walk that I thought I could have done before the back pain went down to my knees, which I've decided. To me, I've decided that one, I need to take better care of myself. So with the aging process, and when they say weight gain during perimenopausal time is a thing, it is a thing. And it happens so fast, so quick, you don't know what to do. And the means that you take to to get the usual means you're used to taking off the weight doesn't work. Your body is going through a change and it's resisting your normal avenues that you go through. Now, this is where you are not gossiping. I was raised. I'm starting to see that this is not the normal practice of the everyday now, but I was raised to listen to the words of your elders, and your elders have wise words. Hence, I said that I believe during my Mother's Day, and when I talk about elder care on my past, one or two of my past lives, they've been through this. And it's funny, going back to words. I had one of the elders that I highly respect. One day I got into work and I was like, oh my God, I feel so wonderful. And they're like, no, don't talk about it too much. Just let it go and write it. And it wasn't mean spirited, it was actually wise words, because the very next day I was knocked out to the point where I couldn't get up. So it's important to first enjoy, not overdo, but do take advantage of your good days. Give me one moment because I am making dinner and I think I smell it. Sorry about that. I'll cut that out in the edit. But I'm making some stewed chicken wings, and I'm trying a new recipe. And if it works, right now I'm working on different recipes that I know work, that are simple. Is going to be geared toward more towards the single person aspect, because we have a lot of single people, a lot of people cooking for one, and a lot of the homesteading that I see, they're made for families, and big families at that. And I did come from a big family. Yes, I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to be squirrely today. um, I did come from a big family, and when I first joined the service, uh, I was. If you're those of you who serve know that if you're a shift worker, you're basically, you cook your own food, because the chow hall, when you go to the chow hall, they don't, the hours you work, it may not fit in, so they give you an allowance for food, you cook your own food. And I always had the problem of cooking too much, because I came from a big family, and because whenever you cook, you got to cook for everybody, which is your siblings, and if you got 8 of them, you're cooking a big pot of food every time. You're cooking a lot of food, and hopefully some for leftovers. So I had to learn to uh, bring down recipes. I'm going to also showing meal prep, because at the same time, many people who want to homestead and grow their own things, uh, and save their own food and use their pantry appropriately, not as a prepper, but just in case, because we do live in trivial times and we just don't know what's going to happen from day to day. Um, I say this because I do work in the city, and we do get alerts a lot of times that there's a protest that just popped up here and a protest that just popped up there, and you just never know what's going to happen. Um, this is the, I mean, shoot. If you told me when I joined the service that when you get out and you come, we are going to have a global shutdown, I would have said you're out of your mind. There's a lot of things that happened in my lifetime right now that I just didn't think was going to happen. So at this point, at this age, first of all, I don't have time for the gossip, and no one should have time for it, because all it is a distraction. And I focus on being ready for those moments where you did not expect or didn't think would happen, because that's basically it. That's life. Back to the perimenopause. So, uh, You can't get more organic than growing your own food. So I have been trying to work in the garden, but the back and the knee has been the last couple of weeks have been really, really bad. If you joined me, and I have to repost it, but I have to edit it. If you joined me for the procrastination video I did a couple of weeks back that I had to take down because I noticed that I took my medicine, the wrong one, for my back pain. And that back pain came from a simple trip to the laundromat, which brings me to why you should be focusing on yourself and not on gossip. Because your body tells you what's going on. Your body tells you uh, what uh, when you need to slow down. And if you're going through perimenopause, I don't care if you're going through perimenopause in your 40s or if you're going through menopause in your 30s, because that is a thing, or you're going through perimenopause in your 50s, 60s. You're not a spring chicken anymore. I hate to say it. It's hard to swallow. It took me 2 years to accept the fact. And you can't push through because pushing through is going to put you out, as I have learned the hard way. So I say this to say every day is not going to be the same. You have a good day, don't overdo it. Yesterday, after a horrific day on Friday, and how horrific, I try to hide my pain, but let's put it this way, it's one of those days that I really wish the Star Trek transporter existed. I really did wish it existed. That's how bad the pain was. And I still had to travel. I still had to walk. I still had to make my way. But yesterday was a good day. I didn't overdo it, but I was able to transplant some of the seedlings I'm going to share. They look kind of shabby, so I'm hoping that they take to their new home very well, but that's usually part of the risk. So I'm going to take some videos probably after today to show the progress. And I had to do a couple of changes because I guess the agreement of my garden in my particular building due to change of hands has changed. And so what I originally planned to do with the garden has changed, and I had to work it out. And I'm hoping to show how to work that out with a balcony garden and what I'm doing. I have my compost going. I did not know that compost takes a few months to become viable when you start it. So that's going to be a thing. We'll see what happens. So I have my compost going, and I'm going to have one on that because it's a DIY compost. So we'll see. So you can't focus on yourself if you're sitting there gossiping and watching other people. Have going on right now for the garden, and actually the balcony garden does help better because I'm on a walk up and going down to the garden downstairs. If I'm not feeling good, I can't take care of it. So I put the essential stuff up here that I want to take care of: my herbs, my tomatoes, my beans. I can't wait till they finish growing. My lima beans are coming out nicely. My peas are struggling a bit, but they always struggle. I'm not sure why, so I have to read up. If you know about peas and what you need to put in the soil to help them fortify, because I love fresh peas, please comment. I am growing okra for the first time this year. I am not a fan. I'm just gonna say this. I am not your typical Haitian that loves okra, but I found out my significant other is a fan, and I'm growing okra, and I'm probably going to make the dish that he likes the best, gumbo. Never made it. So if it comes out good, I actually, last weekend was a good one too. So last weekend was a good weekend as well. I made some cremas. Now, for and I do want to, next time I make a batch, it will be recorded. I will edit it and I will post it, because I did say I'm going to start with the uh cookbook cooking from the Haitian cookbook I have. Yes, I know, Judith, you're Haitian. Why do you need to use a cookbook? That's because when I was a young child, I didn't want to stay in the kitchen. I wanted to go outside and see the world. Do I regret it? Yes, because I missed out on something my grandmother used to make called douce, which in literal translation is called sweets. Now, those of you who live in New York knows bodegas, and I've noticed that they're in bodegas, and I've actually noticed that whenever I go to a West Indian restaurant, which I don't usually get to frequent, there's not a lot of West Indian restaurants where I live. Um, you go into a West Indian restaurant, and if they have sweets, they'll have, sometimes they're made out of coconut. Spanish people call it dulce leche. I digress. Cremas is an alcoholic drink. And those who, it's close to, but not close to what most people like during the holidays. If you know someone who's Spanish, they'll call it coquito, I think. So I made some of that. So I plan, and actually it is in the recipe book. So I would be staying true to me doing that type of cooking. So I wanted to use the cookbook to do some more traditional Haitian cooking this time around. And then we'll probably go to another country. But first, we're going to visit Haiti and see what happens. Also, I do plan on doing recipes with my canned staples, because you don't can it and leave it. They have an expiration date. And I should have used them sooner, because they're supposed to be in and out, in and out. So how to save money doing that. Going back to menopause. With the menopause, you develop certain ailments that you didn't have before. It's good to know your family history, because they may come up. High blood pressure, high cholesterol. No, my cholesterol is good, but I have high blood pressure now. So guess what that means? No more salty salt. Well, limited limitations of salt. Also, another thing that's important, and I only realize this because of my own personal ailments, is bone health. Important. Um, and taking supplements help. I'm adding collagen, and I feel better. That's probably why I'm able to recover as quickly from a bad day like Friday. Um, the collagen makes me bounce back, because like a couple of weeks ago, before I started taking collagen, thank you, Rachel, for that advice. Um, this is a coworker of mine. I rather discuss my ailments at work than talk about other people, because people have been through what you've been through. Someone's always been through what you've been through, or they know someone. It's called sharing knowledge. Now, that's not gossip. That's the wise women saying, well, for this, you use this. Back in my day, If there was an ailment back in, when I say my day, back when I was a child, my mother would run to my grandmother's, not just her mother. She would run to her mother, her mother-in-law, my father's mother, and all the older women and say, "I'm going through this." And they would have a list of herbs, a list of food, a list of things. They will have all types of how can I say, remedies, natural remedies, so you didn't have to take a pill. Unfortunately, I'm starting to see that's a we're losing that wisdom, and we need to bring it back. We really do. We really do need to bring it back. And I think growing your own food, talking to your elders, to older women, talking to your doctors too, because believe it or not, sometimes your doctors know simple fixes that'll help. That's not gossip, that's sharing knowledge. You're looking for self improvement. The difference. So, changing your diet, don't put as much salt in your food for high blood pressure. If you have a history of high cholesterol in your family, start watching your cholesterol intake, the fats you use, everything else. And there are things that you could make. Unfortunately, making oil is not feasible for me, but what oils I use and what I buy in bulk and keep and use sparingly, don't use as much oil. Don't eat as much fried food. Being West Indian, I know it hurts. I am saying all the wrong things, but you know what? Sometimes a grill helps. Sometimes the oven helps. You could tweak your recipes. If you feel the urge to gossip, talk about different ways of cooking, different ways of curing an ailment, um, medical things that you could find out, research. I don't know. That's a way of getting out of it. That's a way of focusing on yourself, but also getting knowledge from others. Avoiding gossip is not avoiding people. It's what you share and what you discuss between people, between others. Um, so today is stewed chicken wings and hopefully just a side of rice. I'm trying to cut on the carb intake because of the weight issue. But I go back to that because I found a little, and I'm hoping as I develop and I come down to it, I'll share some of the exercise. I need to exercise losing weight. But if you suffer from an ailment like I am, where you don't know when you wake up in the morning whether it's going to be a good walk day or a bad walk day, it's key to know your limits. And my limit is I can't even do yoga right now. But I could stretch. And I started stretching last night, 5 simple stretches. And I particularly went and Googled for back relief because that's where my thing is. Um, and I found 5 exercises I did last night. Oh, sleeping was wonderful. And guess what? My knee doesn't hurt as much. So it's probably important to start at your level and then you'll gradually get up there, which means start with stretching. Stretching gets you into the habit of taking the time for you to better you. Um, this perimenopause trip that I'm going through is it's a journey, but it's a wonderful journey. It's a learning journey. And it's something that we need to have a discussion on. We need to open a discussion on this, ladies. Um, we do need to open the discussion and make this not taboo anymore. Because we suffer in silence. And that's not good. Depression hits, and the depression is basically due to, oh, they're letting the dogs out. Depression is due to, first of all, the lack of acceptance that we're aging. And we lose our patience. But we have to let each other know we're not alone. And that's the first way of doing that is being kind to each other. I know everybody's saying nowadays we have to be kind to each other, but we have to be kind to each other. We don't know what steps, what experiences, what tragedies, what traumas we've been through to get what others have gotten there. Not everybody's path is the same. That's why we have to be kind to each other, and we have to steer clear of gossip. There is no pleasure in the misery of others and speaking it out and mocking, because that's what gossip is, mocking another for them. Because although we may not understand, we may not approve of those methods or whatever they've been through or have our judgments of it, before you is a survivor. They survived their trauma, and they're still surviving their trauma by going through it. And who are we to make fun of that? Who are we to pass judgment on it? Who are we to question the higher power? Because that's what you're doing, for giving that person that experience, for giving them that trial and tribulation, and to mock them overcoming it. Think about that. Look at it in that point of view. And I say this only because I've gained a lot of wisdom, and I've been able to lessen a lot of my trials and tribulations by the wisdom of those who've been through it, by the wisdom of those that one would mock. And we should be a little bit more understanding and compassionate instead of using their pains and tribulations for our entertainment. That being said, so what do you think of the weekly brunch? What do you think you could do to avoid gossip? How are you avoiding, if you happen to fall into gossip, what traits in yourself are you avoiding? These are questions you should ask yourself and try to practice avoiding it. Because once we are sharing knowledge instead of gossip, you become a better person and you educate through your actions the next person to be a better person. This is the Loon. It's a beautiful, well, I don't know. It just started becoming overcast, so I can't say it's a beautiful day, but it started out to be a beautiful day. Hopefully it won't rain or anything, and the sun will come out again. And here in New York, I don't know where you're seeing this from. So participate in your development today, this week. and avoid the gossip and work on you. And let's see where you go to, where you'll be next week. Next weekend is supposed to be Memorial Day weekend here in the US. So I will be having a program. I do hope to put something together for Memorial Day. Um, Memorial Day will be the following Monday, but you know what? I might just do 2 shows. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We will have a weekly brunch. I'll touch upon my views on Memorial Day and how I feel people do not practice it correctly. But then again, I might have to do a show on Monday because I just remembered that I promised someone that we were going to smoke. It's the first official day of barbecuing too. So I promised my significant other that we would try to dust out the smoker and smoke some food. I love smoking meat, although I don't have the time, and it all depends on how my back feels. Uh, I'm actually going to record that as it happens. So hopefully, I will have clips of that on smoking meat in the city, because there's nothing better than a good smoked piece of meat. Sorry to my wonderful vegan friend Becca. I know you don't want to hear that. And I think I was going to smoke fish too. Uh, I might see if I can find a whole kingfish. Can you imagine that? If you got a good smoked kingfish recipe, drop it down, drop a link. I'll be more than happy to try it. We'll see what we can do, and hopefully uh, by the time of Memorial Day, I will have my planters situated to a point. I plan on trying to grow normal corn this year downstairs, strawberry corn. We'll see. That's I don't know what it is. Maybe I got a bad batch of seeds, but my strawberry corn never grows and it molds over. So if anybody have any advice on that, I'd be glad to hear about that. I plan on growing some lettuce, um, kale. I'm trying new things because we got to get our nutrients somewhere. And we're going to talk about that because we have to change our diet. We have to adapt our tastes to certain things. I'm not a fan of kale, but I heard I need to try it because it'll give me the nutrients I need to get through this phase of my life. And then I plan on doing some reviews. I have a couple of good brunch topics coming up. A lot of spiritual brunch topics, all my opinion, books I want to share. So please share your ideas. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I'm trying to get monetized. Um, if you want to know when I do another live, hit the subscribe. I will be doing a veterans wellness buddy check, and we do have a topic in place. So we're going to see about that. And so I will be doing one after work, and I don't like to do those, but the 22nd, it falls on the day it falls. And I like to do buddy checks. So if you also know a veteran or someone who could benefit from this, or a veteran who may need to do a buddy check or may need to hear something positive, factual, or just vent. Because for buddy check, what I do is I try to have on X, they have spaces. And on spaces, you could actually talk. So I try to open that up for discussion if anyone wants to come through and talk. The rules are: please be kind, please be considerate of others, and try not to get too political. I know this is a political environment we are living in. Don't take my videos to think I'm avoiding that fact. Is that right now you have a lot of people who are posting about our political climate, and my goal is to alleviate that anxiety and to help us be more prepared as individuals and grow spiritually as individuals. So, on that note, I could smell my stew going, so I have to check on it. I have to finish my spaghetti bolognese, and it's right here. And it got a little cold, and I am out of my refreshment. So, on that note, I'm going to say have a happy Sunday. Enjoy your day. If you're in the New York City area, just avoid the Brooklyn Bridge and uh, on both sides, Manhattan and Brooklyn, because I think they will be doing investigations on what happened last night. Again, my condolences to those two who lost their lives and those who were hurt. I hope you a speedy recovery and blessed day. Till next time.